Hello out there. We're on the air. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Woohoo. How we doing? How the heck are we doing? Hey, Letha, new YouTube member today. Look at that. As if Letha doesn't contribute enough around here. New member. Well, welcome, Letha. What the heck's going on here now? I guess we got no goal today. That's okay, though. Are we live? That's the real question. Are we live on the Zap stream? Can everybody hear me? My mic is on. I think I spent about 5 minutes talking into the void yesterday. I was doing an episode of Bitcoin 365. And I realized that, first of all, my mic was connected to my webcam. So then I switched it halfway through, and then I realized that my microphone's on mute. So maybe as we're getting settled in here, I would say just let me know if you can hear me. Arnie is here today. Good morning, Arnie. And whoa. Okay. Okay, Arnie. That was a crazy little audio's good. Okay. What the heck's going on? The tab is using extra resource to improve your performance. Let Brave make it inactive. Okay, get out of here. All right. Good morning, everybody. Today, we're going to see how today goes. Good morning, Ginger. Joshua. Morning, Joran. On from Ontario. Look at that. One of our favorite regular guys around here. Josh O. Wah. We got Killer. We got Clean Your Machine. We got Alan King saying the Bitcoin bull market's over. Wow. That didn't take very long. My goodness gracious. Oh, look at this. We got some action in Zapstream already. It says nobody's there, but we got a zap from Josh, 888 sats. We got a zap from Letha, 88 sats. And we got Matt, 88 sats. Fountain for the win. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Letha. Thank you, Matt. And we also have Arnie's wallet is live today. So it's like magic. You scan this QR code, you send at least one sat, and then the screen lights up. It's magic. If you want to support the show, that's an easy way to do it if you're watching on YouTube. Jor, I hope you didn't bet on it hitting 300K. Well, I didn't bet on it, but I'm still betting on it. Not that there's much at stake, just my reputation. And I still wholeheartedly believe that we're going to hit 300K. Don't get distracted by like a couple downward moves. My goodness. Ian, good morning. Big institutions are buying the dip. HODL. Little early to panic. I would say so. The bots are here. I don't know if that's a bot or not, but probably. The bots are getting pretty advanced. Tomorrow we will hear about which companies loaded up. That is the truth. All right, let's get the email opened up here. Whoa. Like a frog. Daniel's loading up. Attaboy. So what we want. You guys have to keep this in mind. Every single time you buy Bitcoin and you take it off the exchange and you put it in your cold storage wallet that's nice and secure, that's one less sat or 100 less sats or 100,000 less sats that will never end up in the hands of government. That is all that we're concerned about right now. That's all they're concerned about right now. You shouldn't even look at the price. You should maybe look at the price once per month. And I know I'm guilty of myself, but I'm getting a lot better. I probably check the price like twice a week, maybe. And so I only know that the price is crashing today because of all the panic around it. But just understand that every single sat that you buy or that you earn, that's one less sat that they have. And that is honestly the only thing that we need to be worried about right now. That's it. unless you plan on selling it. But the mentality around here is that we are buyers. We are accumulating. We're like a bunch of farmers in the digital cyberspace world. And we're wandering around right now, and we're making offers on different pieces of land. That's what we're doing right now. We don't have any plans to use that land yet. We're going to be building it up for the next decade, hopefully, and beyond. So if you were walking around and all of a sudden you saw a lot or a piece of land that was on sale, you're probably not going to be mad about it. You're probably going to buy it as soon as you can. And the more of that land we accumulate, again, the less that the big entities, the BlackRocks are going to have, the US government's going to have. So that's how you need to be thinking about this. Bitcoin really likes it at 88K. Well, that's a good number. DCA is not good. Just buy heavy during dips. I disagree with that statement. I think it's a good idea to have some dry powder kicking around for days like today, I guess. But like, imagine having a bunch of dry powder and we have, Jesus. Ugh. And all of a sudden it runs up to 150. DCA won't look too bad at that time there, Alan. It's so easy when you're looking at things like day to day. It's so easy to be, pretend you're right about things or think that this is the best strategy. But when you zoom out, the strategy completely changes. So we're not too phased around about the Bitcoin today. I even put my orange hoodie on today to get the vibes a little bit higher. Bodie's here. Good morning, Bodie. 88 sats and 88K. Good morning, Quality Crypto. Bitcoin and MicroStrategy buys. Absolutely. What's MicroStrategy at? I guess we would have opened up today already. Market's open. What? Is Zapstream working? We got some early comments here, but then it just dried up. Zaps, anybody over there? Anybody on the Zaps? Oh, the birds are coming back. That's a good sign. Spring has sprung. No, not quite. Okay, what the heck am I doing here? I need to stay focused. We got important shit to talk about today. MicroStrategy stock. Is it 280? Oh, 266. I'll be buying today. That's a good. Oh, okay. I'm going to have to figure something out. The Zap stream is not working. Oh, my goodness. Not even on Fountain? That's tough. Anyways, Rick, good morning. Good reminder from Rick here. Smash the like if you don't mind. Fountain not working for Daniel. Number of sats you have is all that matters. Exactly. Exactly. And you know what? Let's just see. I'll give you guys a good example here while we're talking about that. Just give me 3 seconds here to compile it. All right. Give me 3 seconds here to compile it. Okay, so we got, no, that's not what we want. We want this. We want you. Okay, so what do I want to do here? 98, 108, and 88. And we got $100. Okay, I got to delete that. Very easy spreadsheet here for people to see what's going on. All right, so let me break it down for you. I know everybody likes to get all sad when the price drops. But again, we have to be thinking about this like buyers, not sellers. Unless you're a seller, there could be some sellers that watch this who have zero intention on hanging on to this thing for the long term. That's fine. But we have to keep in mind here that what we're trying to accumulate here is Bitcoin. And when you go to work every single day to do your job, whether you're working a 9 to 5 or you have your own business, you get paid, hopefully. And at the end of the day, you have disposable income there. So if you made $250 today and your expenses for that with tax, with anything else were $150, then you have $100 left over. That's your disposable amount. And if you're a Bitcoiner, you usually put that into Bitcoin, convert your dollars into Bitcoin. So I'm going to show you what these price changes do for a day-to-day person. So let me see if I can. All right, let's get rid of this. So I just threw this spreadsheet together quickly on the fly here, but this is the disposable income here. So this is your take-home amount. So at the end of each day, you get $100. When the price is 108, like it was a couple weeks ago, you only got 92,000 sats for that. This is for one day of work, assuming you have a decent paying job and you got some take-home money. You got 92,000 sats for doing that job. The next day you showed up. So this was a couple weeks ago. The next day you showed up, the price dropped and you're kind of feeling bad about yourself, but you go to work, you get your take home $100, and now you get 102 sats. 10,000 sats extra for doing the exact same work. And then today you go to work and everybody's crying online about the price of Bitcoin. You do the exact same job, you get your paycheck, you put it into Bitcoin, but today you get 113,000 sats instead. It's a pretty big deal, especially if you're like me and you value these sats as if they were $1. So in a couple weeks there, you went from getting paid essentially 92,000 sats a day to now you're making 113,000 sats a day. That's a win. That's a win. So that's 20,000 sats per day extra that you're getting when the price is low like this. And again, if you value sats like I do at 1 sat equals $1, that's a pretty big deal. And so the really beautiful thing about Bitcoin is that it's a win-win, because when the price is going up, yeah, everybody's happy. Your net worth is going up. If you store the majority of your wealth in Bitcoin, you're feeling good. Your wealth's up. But when the price is down like it is today, you're getting more of it. You're doing the exact same work, but instead you're getting actually paid more in real money. Sabian, good day, Jor. Rock on. All right, rock on. What was I going to say? Oh, here we go. Okay, so Letha says found's not working. My Path to Fire zapped 88 sats. Josh says neither is Amethyst. Don Scott says we can hear you. All right. Well, Matt says definitely having issues with video and audio, but I'm watching on Rumble and chatting here. Matt zapped another 10 sats. All right. Well, if you feel like zapping today and the zap stream isn't working, you can always send it to Arnie's wallet here. We had a good day yesterday. We had, let me give you guys an update on the rescue fund from yesterday. Things working here? Seems really laggy right now. Oh, well. How about this for a new total? 250,204 sats in the rescue dog fund, plus a couple more that I have to add from Nostr last night. 250,000 sats. Yesterday alone, we had 41,000 sats from the show. How good is that? That is for the rescue dog fund. And we will be providing weekly updates for that to keep everybody accountable around here. People should take a look at the price when buying things. Yes, it's on sale. It's Dracula's Dream Day. It's a bloodbath. Is it like bad? I haven't even checked, honestly. $88,000. That's not that bad, is it? I feel like this time last year we were at like 40K. DCA is the way. That way you're not waiting for a dip that might not happen. Exactly. Don't change your strategy just based on day to day. Never a good idea. You never want to be emotional. You want to be very stoic in Bitcoin. Imagine getting paid in Bitcoin like Sabian does. Exactly. So there you go. That's a perfect example of what I was just talking about there. On a day like today, Sabian, when the price is down and you're converting your time and energy into Bitcoin, you're getting paid more. That's a reality of it. I know it doesn't seem like it, but you're getting paid more. Morning, Matt. Zap stream not working. Son of a gun. We got a zap here from Sabian. 13 sats. Thank you, Sabian. He or she did the magic trick there where the screen lit up green. All right, what was I going to do here? Oh, look at this. Moro says, people are scared of the dip. I'm here trying to find offers on RoboSets. I should be doing the same, actually. We should skip the show today. Although I think I'm going to buy some MicroStrategy instead today. Yes, we're on a discount here. I'm just double checking Found to see what it looks like on my end. All right, so it's loading. Video can be played. I don't think it's on my end because nothing's showing up on StreamYard here. But anyways, that's okay. Alan says, do you think there's a Bitcoin plunge protection team like there is for the stock market? No, God, no. There's a Bitcoin manipulation team, that's for sure. Knees Duts. Jor, always hear different reasons for drops, including regular market dynamics, manipulation, retail investor selling. In your honest opinion, what's causing this one across all coins? I don't know. I'm not going to pretend like I know. Everybody likes to, all the YouTubers, I'm sure after today, there'll be thumbnails of the Ukraine war caused it, or who knows, Joe Biden farted and it caused a dip. I don't know. I don't care what the reason is. There's no reason. It has nothing to do with like market events. Sometimes, because Bitcoin is the only asset that's open on weekends, if there's really bad news or something, then Bitcoin is affected, good or bad. But for the most part, all these dips have nothing to do with anything. Honestly, it's just people with a lot of Bitcoin moving it around and probably trying to play some manipulation games. And there's a lot of it happening right now. A lot of it happening. And I posted 2 videos yesterday. One of them was talking about the manipulation in paper Bitcoin. And one of them was talking about Ethereum. And I took a lot of shit for both videos. But I don't care. It's the reality. And sometimes truth hurts. And you don't need to have like a source. Everyone's like, what's the source for this? How about fucking common sense is the source? I know it's lacking extremely, but my goodness. Think we have heard this before, but gang, think like a sailor, not. Oh, that's a good one. Think like a sailor, not a seller. I like that. I think like a buyer, but yeah, sailor is the same. Sailor is a buyer. Same kind of meaning, I guess. All right, so the Zap stream's not working, but the Zaps are. Man, I love that so much. There's like nothing working there, but there's still people in the chat and zapping without any video or audio. Daniel zapped 88 and Letha zapped 88. Thank you. Hey, look who's back. What kind of trouble are you getting into, Arnie? Uh-oh, what are you eating? What are you eating? I think he's got something in his mouth he's chomping on. That's not ideal. And then he sneaks away because he knows that I know. Bodie says, mining heat reuse is very underrated. 100% will revolutionize plumbing and heating, both residential and commercial. Why? Because it just makes sense, right? You think about it this way. Here in Canada, it's pretty cold. And so we heat the house with a furnace, right? And so the furnace is using electricity. It's sending heat up through the ducts and through the house to warm up the house. Well, what if you could swap that out with a Bitcoin miner and you're still paying for the energy costs? You're still sending heat up through the ducts to heat the house, except now you're actually subsidizing your energy costs because you're mining Bitcoin with that Bitcoin miner. So it's doing the exact same thing, except it's subsidized. So this is the case with residential. This is the case with commercial. I heard somebody say a couple of weeks ago, it actually might have been that letter from Ross Stevens, but it said there's going to come a time, we're kind of in the stages right now where people say that Bitcoin's bad for the environment, bad for energy use. And basically what he said that, sometime soon people are going to say not using Bitcoin is bad for energy use. Like it doesn't make sense. If you're paying for energy costs, you might as well get some subsidy back for it, whether that is a furnace or whether you're heating a warehouse, whatever. Why would you just waste energy? Why wouldn't you get a subsidy back from it? So Bodhi's been doing some good work in that space. It sounds like he's going to have some good info for us, maybe even a business. Logan, howdy from Texas. An awesome day to stack. Is it ever? Don Scott says Zapstream is great today. All right, well, maybe it's working again. Who knows? But we gotta move on with our life here. 20% more sats for the same amount of work. Exactly. Yes, YouTube's good today. That's good. Jay says, I worked a night shift last night and had a little nibble as the price dropped. My colleague thought I was crazy until I explained inflation and debasement of currency to him. Tonight we orange pill. That's a smart strategy, my friend, because people have to realize that there's a problem before they care about a solution to it, right? More sellers than buyers. Yes, that is true. That's usually what creates things. Galaxy Tile says, plan to create proof of reserve for the rescue fund, or have you already? No, we haven't, but I don't have it yet because it's all still on Lightning. Probably once I create a UTXO with it, once I send it to a cold storage wallet, we can definitely show proof of reserves. I mean, that would be pretty hypocritical if I didn't. And you know what? On that note, I've been seeing a lot of people on Twitter in the last couple of days tweeting at Michael Saylors calling for proof of reserves. So it's good. It seems like we're getting some traction here because I've been banging on that drum for months now, but I've actually been seeing a lot of people on Twitter calling out Saylor for not showing proof of reserves. So we'll definitely be doing that with the Rescue Dog Fund. Once we have a UTXO, we can just post the address for it. Pretty simple, except then there'll be a bit of a lag between like us collecting on Lightning versus me swapping it to on-chain, but we'll still have like a decent idea. Pooted, yeah, exactly. History shows it in the charts. It's in the charts, not the narratives. Exactly. It's so true. It's just like Jared says, how about fucking common sense? It's so true. People get so wrapped up in like needing to hear it from like a source. It's like there's a source over here you can see with your eyes. There's a source over here that you can see with your eyes. Just put two and two together. You can use your fucking brain once in a while. You don't have to hear everything that's regurgitated from other people. It just drives me nuts. It drives me absolutely insane. But I guess I asked for it here. I asked for it doing this. Okay, we're not going to entertain that dumb question. Lou says, leverage longs may be getting liquidated as the cause. Gamblers being played. Just DCA and HODL. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing for me. It's like, yeah, I made this prediction that we're going to hit 300K online, but I'm not risking any Bitcoin with that. Why would you do that? I don't understand that either. It's like, what? I've seen so many like huge Bitcoiners just get wrecked by either shorting or longing Bitcoin. And it's like, do you understand what you're holding here? You just lost 150 Bitcoin because you got too greedy. Greed and emotion will kill a person and a family. I think all these countries and big companies are suppressing the price to buy lower. Yes, I agree with that. Bots should be muted. I don't know if this guy's a bot or not. It's kind of up for debate, but I'm with you, Daniel. I think we need to get some. I was going to try to make Daniel a moderator here, but I don't know if you can do that directly in the chat or not. I don't want to put Daniel in a timeout. Almost did that. I'll figure that out after. It's actually been pretty good here, though. But for the most part, it's been good. But it is very annoying. Zapstream, let me know what's going on over there. I see there's 6 people in there, so there must be some action. But Matt said it's a zap and chat kind of day. Zap 10 sats. And Spaceman zapped 88. Thank you, Spaceman. Okay, let's keep her going here. Good morning, Bunny. Morning, Garja. Ciao, Jor from the butcher in Florence, Italy. Best time to keep stack sats and definitely stay humble. Correct. All right, let's get to some. I want to start with some Nostr news today. This one isn't really news, but we're going to look at it anyways. Let's bring it up here for everybody to see. This was one of our favorite people here in the chat every day. Letha. Look at this. How could we pass up this glorious opportunity? Letha's post. Good morning, waiting on Jor and Arnie show today. So we got 1, we got 2 woofers, and 3 woofers in one picture. That is a beautiful sight right there, folks. And the people in the snow, we got Letha, we got Jor, and we got our good friend Arnie, the co-host of 88 Sats Radio. So there you go. Letha got some zaps for that. She got some good mornings, and that's the kind of love you get on Nostr. Look at Arnie's profile. Rescue dog from Canada, co-host of 88 Sats Radio, love golf, snow, old socks, my mom and dad, and stoicism. Arnie should have more followers than me on Nostr. I mean, look at that. The downward dog himself. So that was Letha's post today on Nostr. Had to show that. Anytime we get a chance to see some dogs on the show, we take it. All right, let's take a little break here. Need a bit of coffee. And let's give away some Bitcoin. How about that? Should we? I think so. There was a question yesterday. I forget what it was now. I might have to find it on YouTube, but I think it was an important one to differentiate. So maybe we'll remember that. Remember to do that right after this. So get your phones out, folks. Get your Lightning wallets out. We're going to give away some Bitcoin here. So point it at the screen, and some lucky person's going to win some sats today. How much? Who knows? So here we go. Ready? Set. Go. These sats, of course, are courtesy of our friends at Bitcoin Well. They do not sponsor the show, but they sponsor every single show. Bitcoin Well. The best place to buy, recurring buy, sell, pay bills, and very uniquely swap Bitcoin. If you want to move some Bitcoin from layer 1 to layer 2 or vice versa, you can actually do it on Bitcoin Well for free. And we've had a bunch of people joining Bitcoin Well lately, which is good. Although I haven't got a personalized letter from the CEO of Bitcoin Well yet, but I'm sure it's coming. So it's there's the sats, folks. Go over to Bitcoin Well, get yourself an account. I dare you. That's my dare for today. I'm sure most people already have tried it. No, it's not the right one. But just in case, I dare you to go try Bitcoin Well today. Take $100. Bitcoin's on sale today. Set up an account. It probably takes you 5 minutes. You can buy $100. You can buy $500, $1,000. But try Bitcoin Well. I implore you to at least try it. And if you don't like it, then you can come on the show tomorrow and you can say, Jory, you're a dipshit. Bitcoin Well sucks. And I'll admit it. But it's what I use. Again, they don't sponsor the show. They don't control my voice or anything like that. But I love Bitcoin Well. So bitcoinwell.com/Jor. And somebody left a message yesterday I saw after the show that said they got an account and they only got one toss. So they got ripped off. So what I would say, if that happened to anybody else or the guy or girls watching today, just shoot them a message and say, I use this referral link. I should get 5 tosses. I only got 1. What the heck? And there's been other people that do that, and Bitcoin Well is very quick to reply. That's one thing I don't usually talk about either, how good of customer service Bitcoin Well has. Try getting in touch with somebody at Coinbase or ShakePay or any other exchange. Bitcoin Well, you're probably going to hear back in an hour or 2 max, and they got a really nice chat feature there. So in my opinion, that's one of the most important things, aside from like the fees, the user experience. But you have to have good customer service, especially when you're at this stage of the game, because people run into issues, they need some help, and you need a good customer service team. So if you didn't get all your well tosses that were, allocated to you, just reach out to them. Be comfortable in chaos, Bunny. We need to have conviction and patience. Yes, I would say that those are 2 very important traits if you want to succeed in life, and especially in Bitcoin. Panic selling. Yes, I think there's a lot of that happening for, I don't know who would be panicking. I guess if you don't understand what you're holding. But Mr. T talks today at 3. Expect something positive to happen. He's been busy. Bodhi says, I'm blunt sometimes. I tell people don't ask a question if they don't want to hear the answer. That's true. Retro Beaver is smash buying today. Look at this. Everybody's buying. Rick scraped together 500 to put it into the dip. There we go. That's the kind of community that we have here. I'm sure if you went to another YouTube channel right now, I'm sure there'd be just pandemonium in there. But this is more like stoic of a community and very knowledgeable. All right, what do we got for time? 32 minutes. Okay, first thing I want to start with is this question that somebody had yesterday. I just want to find it quickly here. And it was about Ethereum. And I think this is important to clarify because I've kind of gone back and forth with this in my own brain a few times. So I figured this was a good one to share. Where is it now? I'm pretty sure it was on the Ethereum video here. Let me find it. Okay, so the title was Only Fools Are Still Holding Ethereum. So I mean, I kind of ask for this when I title things like that, but this was a legit question. Where was it? Okay, here it is. So I talked about the difference between like proof of stake and proof of work yesterday on the Ethereum video. And I had a question from somebody here, Caden Goldberg Art Studio said, just to push back a bit, if you have more money than you can afford to run ASICs. Okay, hold on. If you have more money than you can afford to run more ASICs in order to have a better chance of winning the next block reward in Bitcoin, this seems similar to having more Ethereum and it giving you more of a chance for mining the next block. Am I missing something? Either one, you seem to have more control over the money you have. Is it different because of the nodes in Bitcoin? No, so that's a really good question. So kind of what I pointed out yesterday was that the difference between proof of stake and proof of work is that proof of work, which is what Bitcoin runs on, is much more fair, right off the hop. And so what this comment's saying is basically like the more money you have, the better your chances of mining a next block are, either in Bitcoin or Ethereum, proof of work or proof of stake, which is true, right? Because with proof of stake, the more tokens you have staked, the higher your odds are of winning the next block. You get to mine the next block. With Bitcoin, the more energy and electricity you add to the network, the higher your chances are, the more guesses you get essentially from computing power, which increases your chance of winning the next Bitcoin block. That's true. So in that sense, both of them are the same. The more you have at stake, the better odds you have of winning the next block and winning the reward, which is in Ethereum or Bitcoin. But the difference is at the starting line. So with Ethereum, I think you need like 20 Ethereum to even start staking, to have a chance in the game, to even play. So 20 Ethereum today is about 50 grand. So in other words, you need about 50 grand worth of Ethereum to even have a shot at winning the next block. Whereas with Bitcoin, you don't have to have any amount of Bitcoin staked. All you need to have is electricity and a miner to convert that energy into guesses, and you have a chance to win Bitcoin. So yes, the more money you have allocated in either option increases your odds. But with Bitcoin, you don't have to have a certain amount purchased beforehand. Anybody can mine Bitcoin. There's no minimum amount that you need Bitcoin to mine Bitcoin. Anybody can, as long as you have electricity and energy and a Bitcoin mining machine, something to convert that energy into guesses, which turns into potential Bitcoin. So that's a really good question. That's kind of something that I've struggled to understand myself, but it's the starting point that matters. That's the real difference there. So although the lottery itself is a little bit different, because Ethereum is basically just like it's literally a lottery, where the more Ethereum you own, the more ballots you have in the lottery. With Bitcoin, it's just you're putting energy into it. It's generating computational power, and it's just guessing over and over again. And so I guess that is kind of like a lottery in itself, but it's different. So AC, liquidating all my Bitcoin and buying Ethereum. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. I don't know if you're joking or serious, but either way, good luck. All right, so I want to get to a couple different. We got about 20 minutes here, I would say. Yeah, 20 minutes. And I want to talk about Jason Lowery today a little bit. Oh, sats.gg is not even working now. Don't know what's happening there, but anyways, whatever. Shitty, but it is what it is. So the Jason Lowery stuff, I've been kind of, I've been following this guy for quite a while, and there's a lot of people in this community who have as well. So a couple things you need to know about Jason Lowery is that he is a member of Space Force, and he's a big-time Bitcoiner. He wrote the book called Software, which talks about physical power, abstract power, and basically how species and entities assert dominance and kind of maintain control, power structure based on physical power, abstract power. I don't fully understand it myself. I haven't read the book, but I get the general thesis of it. And so, again, just take a step back here and say, okay, well, who created Space Force? I think we know the answer to that. And he was actually mocked significantly for it. So Jason Lowery was a member of Space Force. He's a big Bitcoiner. And one of the main focuses in Space Force is, of course, hash rate, Bitcoin. So he wrote a book called Software. There's actually a really good interview with Robert Breedlove with two guys, and somebody in the Living in the Future sent it to the chat a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was Forrest, one of the two. But I started watching it, and it's very interesting. I highly recommend everybody watches those two interviews. There's two parts to it, part one, part two, both on Breedlove's channel, and it's with two guys. And I highly suggest, if you have some time and you're interested in learning more, it's a very good way to kind of help understand. It's not at the level I would like it, but it's still easier than flipping through a book that's, yay high. So that's the first part. And then Jason Lowery has been pretty active on Twitter lately. So I wanted to share some of his tweets that he's been talking about and just kind of talk about them here. So I want to start with this one, which is, let me just bring them up actually, because I didn't label these. That's not it. We got 4 different tweets here from Lowery that we're going to talk about. Here it is. Okay, so I want to start with this tweet, and then I actually want to share one of the comments I got on, or one of the comments it got. If I can find it here quickly. You know, I probably should have had this loaded, but at the same time, you guys should know by now. All right, so yeah, this is it, right? My favorite thing about Solana, yeah. Okay, so let me bring this tweet up. Let me bring this tweet up from Lowery. We'll go through it and then we'll discuss it. And I want to share this comment too from somebody that I saw. So Jason Lowery says, my favorite thing about Solana is that it brings some much needed competition to the next Bitcoin market. I have a theory that with every post-halving bull cycle, a new wave of FOMO investors must struggle with the emotional challenge of buying Bitcoin at a price 100 times higher than when they first dismissed it. Isn't that the truth? Rather than accepting this reality, it's easier for them to believe in the idea of a next Bitcoin they can buy early. This mindset fuels the next Bitcoin market cycles we see today. What investors haven't fully realized yet is how flawed this concept really is. In my view, this is because the lack of competition as the next Bitcoin market has allowed the illusion to persist. But now I'm starting to notice a pattern where every post-halving bull cycle brings a new wave of so-called next Bitcoins, only for each one to be replaced by the next. Example, Solana, Ethereum. This pattern seems to repeat with every bull run as the new investors experience FOMO, regret not buying Bitcoin sooner, and desperately search for an alternative that offers a second chance. My hope is that with enough time, this cycle will come to an end. With enough unsuccessful next Bitcoins, combined with Bitcoin's continued meteoric rise, it should hopefully become clear to future generations that what they think is the next Bitcoin market is actually just the next Bitcoin market. That is, there's only a market of new projects claiming to be the next Bitcoin, because the next Bitcoin market is consistently dominated by Bitcoin itself. The illusion of a successor will eventually fade as history makes it undeniable that Bitcoin is consistently the best performing next Bitcoin, if for no other reason than the fact that every new wave of FOMO investors buy some small percentage of Bitcoin. And that theory I agree with there, because it seems that way every single cycle here. It seems like people think that they're missing out on Bitcoin or they've missed the boat. And so they start chasing these smaller market cap cryptocurrencies. And so with that, every time, either they get converted to Bitcoin or they at least pick up a small handful of sats, and then they're kind of invested. And that's kind of the theory there, is that every bull cycle, it's just going to keep repeating this way, where whenever the price starts running up, which I think we're going to see very soon here, like when it starts going up straight up, there's a whole bunch of people that are suddenly interested and they feel like they're missing the boat on Bitcoin. And so what do? They buy a bunch of Bitcoin. They don't know what they're doing yet. They just see the price running up and they buy as much as they can. But the problem there is that they don't understand Bitcoin. They're not ready to own Bitcoin yet. Legitimately. I'm sure every person watching the show can attest to going through the same kind of thing. They're not ready to own Bitcoin yet. So what do? Maybe they sell at the top, they cash out, they take their fiat proceeds, and then it keeps going up. And 4 years later, they're like, wow, I wish I wouldn't have sold my Bitcoin. And then they buy more Bitcoin at that point. Or it starts dropping like today. Maybe they bought it back in November when it was running up, and now it's dropping back down. And so they sell it because they don't know what they're holding. They don't have the conviction. And of course, we're going to see another run up here soon, and they're going to have regrets. So every bull run, there's a whole bunch of new people getting into Bitcoin. And even if like 5, 10, 15% of those Bitcoiners, instead of selling high or low, they actually start studying Bitcoin and they understand what they're holding. So with every bull cycle, every time there's a run up, there's a whole crop of like a small percentage of people. And this is where I come from myself. There's a small percentage of people in there who actually take this seriously, and they are converted into full-on Bitcoiners. And when they're converted into full-on Bitcoiners, they are never going back to fiat. They're never going into other cryptocurrencies. They are now Bitcoiners. And every cycle, there's a small percentage of people who get added to that. And over time, that turns into a larger amount of Bitcoiners, which is not quite where we're at yet, but I think we're going to be after this bull cycle. So the comment that I wanted to share there with people is I thought was very relevant. And I hadn't really thought about this myself, but I think that it's accurate. So let me, I lost it again. Oh no, here it is. So the comment here was that I think people that buy shitcoins are subconsciously trying to lose money. They've been brainwashed to think that they're more spiritual if they are poor. I don't know if I agree with the last part there in terms of thinking they're more spiritual. I don't know if that's a big aspect to it. But I really believe with that thesis that people buy shitcoins, they're subconsciously trying to lose money. I think that that's a real thing. I think that the system has created the programming, the nonstop brainwashing has just like made people believe that they're just supposed to be poor. That's kind of like the mentality within society right now. There's a very, very, very small percentage of people who actually think that they deserve abundance and wealth. And everybody else is just trying to either get rich fast or they're just totally fine with losing everything that they made. That's kind of the world that we're coming from right now. And again, once you become like a Bitcoiner, essentially, you don't think like that anymore. You start thinking in abundance. You start thinking in possibility. And there's finally hope there for somebody who's never had that before. There's a really good meme, and I think it's very applicable to this, where there's the ground, and underground, there's looks like the Grim Reaper, and he's like showing this slideshow on like the wall, which is underground, and it's like a slideshow of it's an illusion. That's like the fiat dollar system of like, fear, being poor, scarcity, and then above that, above ground is like the Bitcoin world, sunshine. Things are growing, abundance, hope. But because so many people are kept underground and they're focused on that illusion, they don't ever see what's up there. And I think that is the mentality of most people. And it's pretty sad. But I think that Bitcoin gives hope and gives that light that we wouldn't otherwise have in the world right now. So very, very interesting. I absolutely agree with that thesis from Lowery. And I also agree with that comment that most people have this mentality that they should be broke. They should be poor. They don't deserve abundance. So that's what we need to break out of. Absolutely need to break out of that. The next one here that Lowery had. This one might be a little bit too intense today. A little bit too intense. It's actually from Pierre Rashad. And Lowery commented on it. But this is another one here. This is another one because this is a question I get a lot in terms of like, what do you think about earning a yield on your Bitcoin or lending out your Bitcoin? So this is Lowery's thoughts on it. It says, in other words, I see a future where companies rent people's Bitcoin, offering yield as bait to entice them into giving up self-custody. And once enough Bitcoin is concentrated in these custodial entities, I see nations stepping in to nationalize that rented Bitcoin under the guise of strategic necessity. And this isn't just speculation, it's precedent. It's already happened. The probability that the US would seize an asset it deems strategically vital is not theoretical. It's 100% because history has already proven it. In 1933, the US government confiscated gold through Executive Order 6102, outlawing private ownership and forcing citizens to exchange their gold for fiat. The justification? Economic stability and national security. If Bitcoin becomes a global asset reserve or a neo form of gold, why wouldn't governments attempt the same playbook? The more Bitcoin is centralized in custodian institutions, the easier it will be to seize. It will only become more tempting and more politically popular to seize that Bitcoin with time. Sure, today it seems unconceivable, but in 20 years, when Bitcoin is worth 10 million per coin and 90% of people don't own even a tenth of a single coin, it will be a different story. The political majority will be the first to forfeit their fraction of a coin for 2x its current market value. So if you think about it, that's kind of what's happening right now. And I'm not going to lie, that scares me. Just like you said, today, it doesn't seem like it would be possible, right? We have a guy who's very crypto and Bitcoin friendly in the White House, which is the most influential building or office and administration in the world. So today, yes, this doesn't seem like a big problem, but in 20 years from now, when much more is at stake, that could be a different story. And I'm not saying it will be. I'm saying it's something that we need to think about. It's not a high probability, I don't think, but it's not zero. And so the best thing that you can be doing right now, essentially, is that you should be taking every possible step. Every single second you have in the day, you should be thinking about improving your Bitcoin security. And when you take those sats off an exchange, again, kind of going back to what we were talking about at the start here, every single sat that you buy and you take self-custody of is a sat that they will never have. The government will never have that. If you do it properly, MicroStrategy, BlackRock, the state of Texas, they will never get those sats. And there's only so many sats. They understand that. Unfortunately, the average person hasn't really understood that yet. But that's the whole game here. This isn't about earning like 2 or 3 fucking % of your Bitcoin and putting it at risk. Not only giving somebody else the keys to your Bitcoin, but exposing your privacy essentially. Because when you're lending Bitcoin, they know your UTXO, they know your balance, they hold a key to that. So it's not just a risk of losing it, but it totally eliminates all privacy that you otherwise would have. So the key here is taking Bitcoin into self-custody and taking it out of the hands, out of a possibility where this could happen. And so when you think about MicroStrategies, when you think about BlackRock, when you think of the rate that these big companies are accumulating these Bitcoin, how difficult would it be in a decade or two from now for the government to say, MicroStrategy has 500,000 Bitcoin? That's a big problem. We need to take that. So as a MicroStrategy holder at that point, what do? The government now holds your Bitcoin for the greater good? And I absolutely believe if this is something the government's like started thinking about and started preparing to do, I don't think they are right now, but if they did, they could definitely do this. Think back 4 years ago of how easily tricked people were into being scared of a flu. How easy they were tricked into turning on their family members and coworkers and friends. I absolutely think that if this were to play out down this road and the government's decided that we need to take this Bitcoin, it's a strategic, it's a security threat to our country. I 100% believe that like 80% of people would be on board for that. They wouldn't just like hand over their Bitcoin, but they would be, ecstatic to do it. And they would be turning on their neighbors. They would be turning on their friends. We've seen it before. We've seen it play out. When you own the propaganda, you can control people's minds. And today they still own that propaganda. And again, in a decade or two from now, I have no idea what the world's going to look like. I don't see this as a real possibility, but it's not 0% that this could happen. So you should be absolutely thinking about this. You should be doing everything that you possibly can to get your Bitcoin off the exchanges and into your own self-custody. And when it's in your self-custody, you should make sure that every possible threat model that you have a counter for. And this is not something that happens over a week or a month or even a year. This is like a longer term plan that you have to set in place. And you look at all of your different threat models, whether that's fire, flood, government seizure, home invasion, you unexpectedly dying. You look at all your different threat models and you make sure that you have a counter to all of that. And thankfully, there are things that can be done to significantly increase your odds of that. One would be multi-sig. You get your Bitcoin off the exchanges into a multi-sig setup, it's very hard for anybody to take that from you. It's very hard for you to lose that Bitcoin. I mean, you have to do it properly. It's not something that you do lightly because there are some very important factors within that and information you have to back up in case of recovery. But multi-sig is a very good option for that. It would pretty much eliminate any single point of failure and significantly increase your odds of having that Bitcoin in 20, 30, 50 years from now that the governments cannot touch. And then you start looking at multi-jurisdictional. Maybe you keep a device in this country. Maybe you send one to your friend or somebody you trust in this country. You start thinking about multi-jurisdictional, multi-sig setups. And then you start encrypting your backups using SuperBacked. And once you have it there, again, this is a very gradual and slow progression to get to that point, but that's going to protect you from all this. And it's not only that, because even if you went through all that trouble of putting it into a multi-sig like that, if Bitcoin were to get to that point, I think we'd be in some trouble. So it's first step is securing what you have. The next step is talking about this stuff and providing education in any possible way that you can to your friends, your family, and your network about the importance of Bitcoin and self-custody. Because it's the only asset that we can truly own. We can't own anything else. You might say, well, yeah, I have some land. Do you? What happens if you stop paying the property tax on that land? Do you really own it? What about gold and silver in my basement? Well, what if somebody comes to your house? How can you abstractly protect that gold or silver? You can't. If they want it, they're going to take it. That's what happened in 1933. That's the difference here, though, is that in 1933, we were talking about an asset that was just laying around that you could not abstractly hold in your head, essentially. But with Bitcoin, if you do it properly, not only can you own it in your head, you can disperse it in different locations while still maintaining ownership of that Bitcoin. Very important. And that might actually be the difference between this happening like it did in 1933 and not happening. But I would say the first step for you is just don't be the lowest hanging fruit. If you're watching this and you're like, well, I don't even know what a multi-sig is. You're talking way over my head. The first thing you need to do is just don't be the lowest hanging fruit, which is having it on the exchange. And having your Bitcoin on the exchange, it presents two kind of threats to you. The first one is that it's very easy for the government to call Coinbase or Kraken and say, Ken has been misbehaving, freeze his account. Sorry, Kraken writes to Ken. Unfortunately, we have received news from the government or word from the government. We are forced to suspend your account. Okay, well, your Bitcoin's gone. That's number one. That's the easiest thing they could do. They don't have to come to your house. They don't have to exert any physical force. That's the easiest one. Just seize your Bitcoin on the exchange. But the second one is that when you leave your Bitcoin on the exchange, it allows these big entities to manipulate the price. Because when the Bitcoin's held on an exchange, they can essentially just create this huge slush fund where there's some dollars, there's some Bitcoin, but until people actually request withdrawal of that Bitcoin, they can just keep it. They're happy with that. They can continue manipulating the price of Bitcoin. So taking your Bitcoin off the exchanges does two things. You're no longer the lowest hanging fruit. They have to work harder if they want to take your Bitcoin from you. Plus, it shows the scarcity of Bitcoin. When we start taking Bitcoin off the exchanges, it's harder for them to manipulate the price of it. And this is probably a bold claim, a bold prediction, but I really think that in a couple of cycles from now or less, Bitcoin exchanges aren't going to exist anymore. Because nobody's going to trade fake money for real money at that point. And so what would be their use case? If nobody wants to exchange fiat for Bitcoin, there's no exchange anymore. There might be like a couple, but they're not going to be like they are today. That's what I think. And to get Bitcoin in the future, you're either going to have to work for it or you're going to have to mine. Either way, it's proof of work. You have to either add value to the world, earn Bitcoin, or you have to provide energy and electricity to the network, and you have a chance to win Bitcoin. So that's my thoughts on it. That was a long-winded kind of spiels there, but I think it's important. I don't know. The Zap stream's been down. The zaps are dry today. Well, that's okay. That's part of life. That's part of life. What's this? IMTS. I put $300 into this dip. Painful, as I'm having to be careful without doing too much as I require funds for some house rentals work going on. Yeah, here's what I would say to a comment like that. Don't ever buy Bitcoin with money that you're going to need soon, because anything could happen. You buy Bitcoin, you want to make sure that you have that Bitcoin for at least 4 years. Every time you buy Bitcoin, that should be your mentality. You should never buy Bitcoin because the price is down and you hope it's going to go up in a week or two and then you can sell it for more and pay for whatever you need. Bad idea. Never buy Bitcoin if you have other things that you need. Not that you want. It's like, yeah, I want a new quad. I want a new golf cart. I don't need them though. So I'm going to buy Bitcoin instead. But if I had like a leaky roof or my plumbing was shot or my water heater blew up, I'm not going to buy Bitcoin just because the price is down and hopefully it's going to bounce back today or tomorrow. Bitcoin's price is very unpredictable. So I respect it, but it's not the game. Buy the best, have no regrets. Exactly. Kenneth says, the guy who mentioned that people think they're more spiritual is spot on. I think I had that same epiphany after dealing with members of my impoverished family. You know what? Actually, now that you say that, I kind of get it. And I maybe looked at it the wrong way. It might not be that people think they're more spiritual for being poor. They think that having wealth and abundance is evil. Maybe that's the part of it that I missed myself. Because yes, I do agree with that. I think that we've been programmed to believe that if you're rich, if you're wealthy, you've done something wrong. I think that that's the mentality that like 80% of the population has. Because of all this, capitalism, they paint capitalism with this big bad brush when all you're doing is you're providing a service, you're providing value to the world. And people who are willing to pay you for that product or service, they're getting value from you and they're giving value back to you. That's all it is. But because of this programming, nonstop programming from the media, people believe that that is bad, that people who provide value to the world shouldn't be doing that. So that's a great point, Ken. That's a great point. I never really thought about it like that. The dip has some sugar in it today. Very tasty. Mr. Turkey. I love that. I love that. Dale, from our favorite shop, Bitcoin shop in Regina, QuickBit, says Bitcoin adoption is like making a candle. Every time you lower the candle wick into the wax and pull it out, 20% of the wax sticks and hardens, 80% drains off. That's a good analogy, and that's very accurate. That's exactly what happens in Bitcoin. I like that. I'm going to have to remember that one. Sabian says, anything backed by fiat, including strategy, is centralized and regulated. Bitcoin cannot be regulated. Stack sats into self-custody. Exactly. If Bitcoin is worth having at 100 grand, then it's a bargain at 86 grand. Is it 86 now? Damn. We're crashing here, folks. Sell it all. Sell it all. Nobody can own land. As a property owner, you are always listed on the contract as tenant. Take a look and see. Boomy says you won't need them anymore. Yep, exactly. Exchange will be left holding shit. Stacker says, can you think of any effective way to convince a potential wrench attacker that it's not worth it? I don't think a multi-sig or a decoy wallet would be nearly persuasive enough. Well, here's my opinion on it, Stacker, because I do agree with you there. But this is important. Because if you're talking about a $5, like a wrench attack, where somebody breaks into your house, they say, I know you have Bitcoin, hand it over. And you say, well, sorry, I don't have it. There's nothing that I can do here. Or you say, here's my decoy wallet. Let's go to the safe. I'll walk you there. You can take all of my Bitcoin in my decoy wallet. And yes, I do believe that there will be sophisticated actors. Not every case. Like this isn't something we need to worry about today, but it might come in the future. But you're going to have to be very convinced yourself There's literally nothing that you can do, because that's why I don't like the idea of memorizing your private key either, because under the right amount of pressure, you knowing your private key in your head, you will crack. It's fun to say you won't, but you will. So that's why you need to take steps today. Again, it doesn't happen in a week. This doesn't happen in a month. This probably doesn't even happen in a year. But you need to be taking actionable steps where you have zero trace of Bitcoin in your house. Zero. Basically, my goal here at the end of this, when I have everything set up properly, I'm going to have no devices, no backups, no steal, nothing. I'm going to have my phone, and I'll probably have like a decent balance of money in my Aqua wallet, which I can use for on-chain or Lightning and swap back and forth as needed. But the majority of my stack, there'll be no trace of in my house. And I have to do this, obviously, being somebody who talks about Bitcoin online. So this is more of a priority for me. But you should still be taking steps to do the same thing. And it is possible. With multi-sig, with encryption, you can have zero trace of Bitcoin in your house, and you can still maintain full ownership with zero risk anywhere. That's what SUBSTACK is. That's what SUBSTACK allows for. So on that note, if you've been hearing me talk about SUBSTACK encryption, the whole process, the security, having a guy like Craig on your team, who to me is worth the cost of the service, just having Craig on your team as your security guy, by far. But you can just shoot me an email, and I've gotten probably 10 or 12 emails in the last couple of days about SUBSTACK. I finally got back to everybody last night, but I actually put together a nice summary of what SUBSTACK is. So if you want to just hear a little bit more about it, just shoot me an email, and I'll send you the info that I put together last night that summarizes SUBSTACK and the process very well, and the service that we provide. It has the cost, it has what it involves, it has why it works, why it's important. So shoot me an email, just put your subject line as SUBSTACK, and I'll send you some info on it, and we can set up a meeting if you want to. Zero pressure. That's the thing I love about it most. It's like people feel the need to say, sorry, it's not good right now. I can't afford it right now. Zero pressure. If you think it's, if you think your Bitcoin's worth protecting, then this is the best way to protect it. We're not going to try to convince you that. We're going to lay out the objective facts about it, and you can decide for yourself. We're not salesmen. Peter Schiff probably buying the dip in the closet. Yeah, what a douche. Okay, I think I got to go. I do have to go. I don't think I have to go. Sorry, everybody. I'm missing some. Law Dog, is there any other coin you trust and we should invest in, like XRP? And the love of money is the root of all evil, not money or crypto itself. Exactly. That is true. The other coin I would trust in would be Bitcoin. That's it. Jackie says, I used to save in a savings account, but now I just save in Bitcoin. I mean, that's the perfect thing to do, honestly. You don't have to understand everything. You don't have to have a Nostr account. You don't have to learn about Lightning. All you have to do is understand that one currency, fiat, is going to go down forever, and one asset, Bitcoin, is going to go up forever. So which would you rather store your time and energy in? Bitcoin. So very simply, if you're just somebody who just wants to save in Bitcoin, send and exchange your dollars. They send you Bitcoin, protect that, make sure you have a good security setup, but that's it. You don't have to do anything crazy. Just save your time and energy in Bitcoin. Big dog and guns can be persuasive. Yes, that is a good point. Silverstone, great name. Would you take out a loan at these prices? Yes. Absolutely. But the key there is that it has to be a longer term loan. It can't just be, a year or 2 year term, or a credit card or whatever. You have to have something in place that's going to be 5 or 10 years minimum. And then if you just think about it, interest rate of even 10%, Bitcoin's probably going to outperform that. It's been 60% per year. So that spread is there. That's your opportunity. So I would say Jay says, Jackie, are you single? Everybody wants a girl who understands Bitcoin. That's the only thing guys care about. It's less about looks nowadays, and it's more of how much do they want to rebel against the Federal Reserve and store their time and energy in Bitcoin. Bitcoin Well. I don't know if this is the actual Bitcoin Well, but it says swapping between Lightning and on-chain is a game changer. Lightning is finally usable. So Bitcoin Well, I don't know if that's an official Bitcoin Well account. I'm guessing not, but they are absolutely right. And you can swap back and forth on-chain Lightning for free. So there you have it, folks. We had another very low salary day today, but that's okay. I understand. Oh, look at this. We got a fat zap to end out the show today. 1,961 sats. Anonymous. Sent to our guy, Arnie's wallet. So if you learned anything today, if you got any value from the show, if you agree with anything, if you want me to keep showing up every day, keep the lights on here, you can send some sats to Arnie's wallet here. And that would be very much appreciated. So anyways, tomorrow, I think I missed a comment here from, where was it? Buck52. What's the topic for tomorrow's member only show? So tomorrow is going to be the very first, the first part of a long series here that we're going to be doing together. Again, I thought this was going to be 8 weeks long, but it's going to be at least 6 months. So we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. For anybody basically who wants to leave their job and start their own business in Bitcoin or otherwise, or if you already have a job or already have a business yourself and you want to figure out how to take advantage of the internet, of Bitcoin, of like the whole worldwide economy now, we're going to be starting from zero tomorrow, and we're just going to be building slowly. It's going to be evolving path. It's going to probably make a few quick turns, but it's going to be based on kind of how I'm feeling and how the community is responding to it. But it's going to be very valuable. I will say that. So you kind of got 3 options if you want to join. So that's going to be tomorrow. Every Wednesday going forward, we're not going to do a show on YouTube. We're going to do it for members only. So you can join the Patreon, which is in the show notes. But you can join for $5 per month tier, Living in the Future. Gets you access to it, gets you access to our Signal chat. Second one is you can join us 365 days of Bitcoin, where you get 1 Bitcoin video every day for 365 days, every day in 2025. We already have 55 videos in there. Every day so far in 2025, I've posted a video into that tier. I might be the first person. There might be like a world Guinness might show up at my door and say, you're the first person to ever post 365 days consecutively about Bitcoin. So that's $20 a month. And then if you need a little bit more help, you can do a higher tier, which gives you quarterly access, quarterly session with me, or a monthly session with me. So that can be joined at the bottom. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, join today, and you can watch the show tomorrow and every show every Wednesday going forward. So there's our guy to come say goodbye. And I think I saw a zap come in here right at the end there. Yes. 888 sats somebody just sent into our guy, Arnie's wallet. So have yourselves an amazing day today. Oh, sorry, you did? Yeah, okay. Have yourselves an amazing Tuesday today. Thank you to everybody on Zapstream. I'm sorry it wasn't working, but that's part of life. And thank you to those who sent into Arnie today. Big thanks. And we'll see most of you tomorrow, and we'll see the rest of you on Thursday. Bye-bye.